The Realm of Nature, Endings, Part 3. It's been over a year since I did the other Endings videos, but basically they were just explaining my theory on all the forests of the giant trees burning down and leaving us in an ash wasteland to like rebuild and, from there kind of thing. So part of that inspiration comes from education, so I got these educational books when I was young, a Christmas present, that kind of thing and stuff like. So you got Earth Story, which explains about where we are, what this place is, and then you got Life Story to explain where life came from. So it shows you a picture of a volcano. It starts off with nothing. And then on the next page, this is supposed to be Big Bang, but the infinite tiny silence that we get from flowers is like a Big Bang, but it's like almost like the opposite in a sense. But the entire realm being a chakra, for this painting to look like a flower. You know them exotic flowers, I can't remember what name they have. I looked it up but I couldn't find it. But you've seen them before, they're quite common in garden centres and stuff like that. With long petals like this. So yeah, it looks like a flower. Looks more like a flower than a Big Bang. But how like they describe the universe to be expanding. A flower can expand. You know what I mean? So is there any sense to what they're actually saying? You know what I mean? Or is that, because lots of things in what they talk about sounds like it doesn't make sense, but maybe it does in some way or some respect. You know what I mean? And stuff like it's background radiation, all that kind of stuff to support evidence or whatever. But evidence of it being a flower maybe might be more relevant. You know what I mean? If you like saw things in a different light and stuff like that. So anyway, going back onto theirs, which is the Big Bang and all that kind of thing. How they're creating this world for us. And you've got all your clouds of dust, which turn into galaxies and all that kind of thing. This is supposed to be a sun forming, I suppose. This is Earth. Your first glimpse of it. And then Earth again, it's showing it like this molten rock. Right, so you know what I mean, uninhabitable to live. It's like, not ready yet in their terms. It's processing, it's becoming something, It goes on about its iron core, but then it shows you this, and it shows its surface. It's like, volcanoes everywhere, alright? So, they're saying, what did it say on here? Does it say it on this part? Then from under the ground, through the cracks and the holes spouted melted rock, making great volcanoes. They rumbled and grumbled, and they growled and roared until hot and flowing lava poured everywhere, breathing fire like dragons, spitting gases and steam. Volcanoes became the first mountains. See, it's like the narrative was that the volcanoes formed the land. It's like, if there were no land, it's like volcanoes come out of land. You know what I mean? So they put all the basalt columns in there as well to like further persuade that argument and stuff. And it's not until after that that they start looking at microbes and saying that life appears and stuff, and then that leads you to the next book. But back on here, it's like all these volcanoes, even even that, you know what I mean? Because it's like this molten rock and stuff. It's kind of like that's the beginning in their mind. This is where they want the story to start. So at this point, this is the beginning of Earth. The story starts after the disaster, after the Great Fire. Anything before that is moot because there were nothing. It was just dust or whatever. You know what I mean? Clouds of swirling dust. So we don't even need to question it. We don't need to look at beyond this great fire, this great disaster, and that's how they depict it. You know what I mean? It's look at the surface of Earth. It's covered in flames. There's even fire underneath. They turned L into hell. And it's like L is of God, but then they put the H beginning and turn it into this fiery hell place. You know, like I say, with volcanoes and stuff like that, that's quite a hostile environment, isn't it? So, so if we replaced it, you know, like going back into my earlier research with the giant trees, they produce life. That was the utopia, and we haven't gotten it anymore. And this is showing you their beginning, where they're like they skip over the true beginning, and they try and make out that it happened after. So then you know they bring up life story and stuff, which is it's not really much in here. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to be pushing evolution and stuff like you start with your microbes, jellyfish, coral, and it just develops up through that way. An oarfish, a dragonfly, and plants. But giant dragonflies, I think, you know what I mean? They're quite happy to have prehistoric things in past. You see, any like dinosaurs or dragons or whatever bones are found and stuff like that kind of thing are probably just the survivors after the fire. You know what I mean? Ash, plants can grow quite well in ash, you know what I mean, and stuff like. And it depends how the fire were. I mean, it's like quite a big area, so there might have been areas which were safe for a period, you know what I mean, until like the fire spread or eventually, you know, these floods to contend with as well and stuff like. So all these, you know what I mean, we see creatures today which go extinct. You know what I mean? We never see them come into existence. You know what I mean? Like there's a new type of giraffe or something, you know. And you can crossbreed or whatever and stuff, but so yeah, that like I said, there's not much in there. But that it's more like an example of what happens beforehand. So this being book 2 should be book 1. It's book 1 where it was life and abundance and utopia, things could just survive, and then there were this big disaster which nobody wants here to talk about. You know what I mean? That part's hidden. That part's like, you know, like we don't talk about that, but we'll start at this point after it's happened. You know what I mean? That's where the beginning of the story begins. So, like I mean, you know what I mean? Like I say, it's that manipulative way of telling the story. You know what I mean? So you don't even look beyond the beginning, kind of thing, like or what they call the beginning. And also, there's a short which I want to show you, which kind of like goes along with this narrative. So hold on a second. Oh yeah. To the volume because he speaks as well. Lightning struck a tree and did this, which we're familiar with. I had some pictures which are showing you like some burnt out trees and stuff like. But like an example, you know, because this is just a small tree, and we haven't got giant trees anymore. So if we did have giant trees, or imagine a redwood doing this. You know what I mean? So if you had a tree which was bigger than a redwood, you know what I mean, considerably bigger, and you can see how it'd still work out like that. You know what I mean? The bigger they are, the more likely they are to be hollow as well. So
This guy saw this tree in a forest on fire only on the inside. This tree was struck by lightning, and when lightning passes through the tree, the sappy interior is a better conductor than the wood, causing a fire from just within. This guy saw this tree.
so the sap makes it worse. So like the idea of like the sap being the magma and lava and all these kind of things. Obviously, the sap it's going to mix with all the ash and any debris which falls down and stuff, and that just gets added to the mixture. Soil, stone, whatever, you know what I mean, and stuff like. So yeah,
Tree in a
a bit
forest on
closer.
fire only on the inside. This tree was struck by lightning, and when lightning passes through the tree, the sappy interior is a better conductor than the wood, causing a fire from just within. This guy saw.
So you know what I mean, like hell. Like when these were giants and you had these big massive pluming towers of fire spitting out lava and stuff like that, it would have been really, I mean, you know, the survival rate would have been drastic. You know what I mean? Really bad kind of thing like. So so yeah, I think that contributes to it quite well. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. I'll work on the next ones. Cheers.